Jesus himself told us that we are to watch for general indicators that will be a signal to Christians that we are, indeed, in the end times, and that the rapture is near. What are these general indicators? Economic losses from disasters since 2000 are in the range of $2.5 trillion, a figure at least 50% higher than previous international estimates, according to the most recent UN report. The UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction warned in a 246-page report that economic losses from floods, earthquakes, and drought will continue to escalate. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon launched the report, saying the review of disaster losses in 56 countries clearly demonstrates economic losses from disasters are out of control. The report said recent major disasters such as Hurricane Sandy in 2012, the 2011 floods in Thailand, and the 2011 Japanese earthquake and tsunami put a spotlight on the growing impact of disasters. A new global risk model developed by the UN office demonstrates that average losses just from earthquake and cyclonic wind damage are expected to be about $180 billion per year throughout this century. And this figure doesn't include damage from floods, landslides, fires, and storms, the report said. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, landslides, and sinkholes. Earthquakes will increase in frequency and intensity and will be occurring globally. Matthew 24:7, Luke 21:11, Isaiah 24 verses 19 and 20, Revelation 6 verses 12 and 14, Revelation 16 verses 18 through 20. Are earthquakes becoming more frequent and more powerful? Since the year 2000, there have been a very clear upward trend in the number of major earthquakes. So, is this an indication that major earth changes are coming? Is our planet becoming increasingly unstable? We are currently witnessing tremendous political, social, and financial upheaval all over the globe. Every week, the economic crisis in the United States and elsewhere seems to get even worse. So what is going to happen if the shaking of the earth becomes even more intense and major cities all over the planet start getting leveled? For most of human history, we have seriously underestimated the awesome destructive power of natural disasters, and the fact that the number of earthquakes around the world seem to be going up consistently should be a huge wake-up call for all of us. From 1890 to 1899, there was only one earthquake of killer magnitude, 6.0 or greater, recorded anywhere in the world. From 1900 to 1910, there were 3. From 1910 to 1930, there were 4. From 1930 to 1940, there were 5. From 1940 to 1970, there were 13. From 1970 to 1980, there were 56. From 1980 to 1989, there were 310. From 1990 to 1994, there were 747. From 1995 to 2004, there were 1,484. And from 2004 to 2014, there were 1,841. Volcanic eruptions. Joel chapter 2 verse 30 tells us that in the last days there would be signs in the heavens and in the earth that would include, among other things, fire and pillars of smoke. Volcanic activity has been increasing at an alarming rate in frequency and intensity as formerly dormant volcanoes come back to life. Pillars of fire and smoke are closing large blocks of airspace to commercial air traffic. The number of volcanoes that are erupting continue to rise, and scientists cannot seem to explain why this is happening. In 2013, we witnessed the most volcanic eruptions worldwide that we have ever seen in a single year, and this increased activity carried over into 2014. In recent months, we have seen major volcanoes roar to life in Russia, Peru, Hawaii, Reunion Island, Indonesia, and all over Alaska. It is highly unusual for so many volcanoes to be erupting at the same time. This is sending a massive amount of dust and ash into the upper atmosphere, and it may explain why many parts of the planet are experiencing strangely cold weather at the moment. If this trend continues, we could potentially be facing years of crop failures and widespread famines all over the world. Approximately 90% of all earthquakes and approximately 75% of all volcanic eruptions occur along the area of the Earth called the Ring of Fire. Because the entire west coast of the United States lies along the Ring of Fire, we should be very concerned that the Ring of Fire is becoming more active. On April 12, 2012, an 8.6, the most powerful strike-slip earthquake ever recorded, happened along the Ring of Fire. If that earthquake had happened in a major U.S. city along the west coast, the city would have been entirely destroyed. Scientists tell us that there is nearly a 100% certainty that the big one will hit California at some point. In recent years, we have seen Japan, Chile, Indonesia, and New Zealand all get hit by historic earthquakes. It is inevitable that there will be earthquakes of historic importance on the west coast of the United States as well. So far, we've been very fortunate, but that good fortune will not last indefinitely. Tsunamis. A tsunami is a set of ocean waves caused by any large, abrupt disturbance of the sea surface. If the disturbance is close to the coastline, local tsunamis can demolish coastal communities within minutes. A very large disturbance can cause local devastation and export tsunami destruction thousands of miles away. The word tsunami is a Japanese word represented by two characters, tsu meaning harbor and nami meaning wave. Tsunamis rank high on the scale of natural disasters. Since 1850 alone, tsunamis have been responsible for the loss of over 420,000 lives and billions of dollars of damage to coastal structures and habitats. Most of these casualties were caused by local tsunamis that occur about once per year somewhere in the world. For example, the December 26, 2004 tsunami that killed about 130,000 people close to the earthquake and about 58,000 people on distant shores. More recently, on March 11, 2011, a magnitude 9 earthquake shook northeast Japan, unleashing a savage tsunami. More than 18,000 people were killed in the disaster. Most died by drowning. The tsunami caused a cooling system failure at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which resulted in a level 7 nuclear meltdown and release of radioactive materials. About 300 tons of radioactive water continues to leak from the plant every day into the Pacific Ocean, affecting fish and other marine life. The effects of the great earthquake were felt around the world, from Norway's fjords to Antarctica's ice sheet. Tsunami debris continues to wash up on North American beaches 2 years later. Predicting when and where the next tsunami will strike is currently impossible. Landslides. From 2004 to 2010, 2,620 fatalities were recorded worldwide, causing a total of 32,322 recorded deaths. Landslides kill up to 10 times more people across the world than previously thought, according to a recent study by a UK university. Weather patterns, deforestation, and increasingly dense population settlements were factors in the toll caused by landslides, the study said. Sinkholes. Romans 8 verses 20 to 22 tells us that creation itself longs to be free from the curse and suffers from the increase in frequency and intensity of natural disasters that are not specifically named. Unexplained, strange sinkholes are opening up in places all around the world. Equally as strange are sounds that are being heard all over the world that have no apparent source and come from no apparent direction. There have always been sinkholes, but over the past few years, it seems like both the severity and the number of giant sinkholes has been increasing dramatically. Giant holes are opening up all over the earth and swallowing homes, buildings, roads, and sometimes even people. Numerous massive sinkholes have made headlines in the news, swallowing people, cars, homes, and even a resort. Is the frequency of landslides and sinkholes increasing these days? There's no national or international sinkhole database. The answer is, we don't know because we just don't have enough data. Still, as the world's population grows and more of the Earth becomes developed, we seem to be seeing more sinkholes and more stories about humans being impacted.